Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Tech TLDR. Today, we got nothing going on with SpaceX. There's not much going on in the EV market, so I figured I'd talk about a big story going around in the space industry that I didn't really have enough time to cover in my previous episodes, which is the company Orbital Assembly and their artificial gravity hotel they want to put in space by 2025. So if you want to know all about this article and the story that I'm going to be talking about, stick to the episode. Be sure to drop a like on the video to help me out. Let's get into why I clicked onto the video. So this is coming from space.com. However, there are a ton of news articles putting this out right now talking about this whole story. So this company, Orbital Assembly, what are they? They're essentially what they sound like. They want to be in the construction of objects that will go into low Earth orbit and then eventually break into space construction, on Mars, on the moon, things like that. However, this is going to be their kind of kickoff item to start the company and to get funding going for bigger projects. Something like this is going to be only for rich people, meaning that there's going to be hopefully a very good cash flow going into this business, considering it's like luxury resort styled space, high tech money, you name it. That's what it's about. So, a little backstory on what this is going to be. It's going to be about 650 feet in diameter, slightly bigger than what the International Space Station is right now. And it's going to be using the artificial gravity by spinning, and that way kind of pushing things outwards toward the end circumference of this hotel. And that's what's going to be simulating the gravity, and it's going to be roughly about the strength of what the moon is. If you take a look at their website, we can get a better feeling and diagram of what this actually is. There's going to be about 24 of these little space pods, if you will. See these guys right here? There's going to be about 24 of those, and that's where the hotel theme is going to be. That's where each room would be. And it's not just going to be specifically for hotels. They are open to having research and development companies come in one of these pods as well to have more of a permanent structure. Also for testing, for pilots, things like that, to go into deep space. You can actually, as of right now, you can like lease or rent one of these pods or buy one. It's kind of crazy because it's pretty much an idea still. They've yet to put anything in space, but it is cool nonetheless. And they also have these little lifeboats, quote around lifeboats. They're like little mini space shuttles that if anything does go wrong, you hop in this and it'll automatically fly you back down to Earth. Each one of these pods is going to be roughly around 40 by 24, that's feet. And then in the center, of course, you have like the little control station, the docking hub. That's where people will be coming in and out of. That's where all the controls and all the brains of the operation are going to be housed. The reason why this became so big in the news this recent week is that the company has been doing a funding round to get money to actually do this project. They've raised about $1 million so far, which they say is a lot. I don't think that's much at all. $1 million for a project like this, it seems kind of dismal, but that's apparently enough. That's going to be good enough for them to get going, considering the other funding they have. They were selling these to private investors at about 25 cents a share in order to get into that company. It almost seems like a pump and dump, like a scam or something like that. Just it's such an odd number to get into such a big project like this. But I'm not a financial guru, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. But before they put this into space, they actually have to make a prototype. That's going to be about 200 feet wide. And the point of that is to simulate the whole gravity effect, the spinning of it, to see, all right, is this actually doable? Can we actually make this at scale? The smaller one's going to have the gravity about Mars. So it'll be more than the bigger one will have. But it'll still be able to test and give a better idea of, is it practical? How can we improve on it? Yada, yada. And going back on my story from yesterday, they're actually going to be using a lot of robotic technology to build this once it's out in the Earth's orbit. They're going to build as much of these as they can on Earth to make it as safe as they can, but obviously it has to be assembled in space. They can't put something that's 600 feet wide on a rocket and launch it up and expect things to go well. I'm also curious who approves of this as a whole. I mean, when they need a lot of countries to approve this, that's what none of this is really talking about in terms of, you think of something that big, if something goes wrong, it's not just going to burn up in the air. That's a collateral damage, big lawsuit waiting to happen. I'm curious about that. Let me know in the comments if you know anything about that. I've really yet to find anything that's concrete about that. They supposedly want to start construction of this in 2025. So by then, Starship will definitely be a functional rocket. 2025 is not that far away, and they want to finish it by 2027. I think that may be a bit of a pipe dream. If you know anything about construction, you know that there's a lot of time, there's a lot of hiccups, a lot of things to go wrong. I'm I think 2027 is a little skeptical. I think 2030 would be more practical if they do get this started by 2025. But again, it's still kind of a pipe dream at this point. But again, it is just something I wanted to talk about. I did find it really interesting that companies are trying to get into the whole space game, and that this is going to be the first major, hotel, quote unquote, hotel in space, and it'll be just used to test things for the future. Think about the whole gravitational aspect of it. This will be the first technology of a gravitational ring, and we'll see, can humans really do this? The problem with long space flight, besides, you need oxygen, you need food, you need water, is gravity. In a spaceship long term, humans' bodies will literally start to deteriorate and break down. Your muscle won't be needed because there's no gravity, there's no resistance, there's no reason for you to have muscle at that point. Your body begins to break down. So imagine you're trying to get to another planet, years from now, a very long time, humans are trying to get to another planet. They finally get there and they just become those things from that Wall-E movie, those fat blobs that have no muscle mass. That's exactly what would happen if there is no gravity. So something like this at least gives us a better foothold in terms of how to simulate gravity more effectively. So as much as this is like a leisure, rich people hotel thing, it is in itself a science project, and it's an experiment. We're going to learn a lot from something like this. It's the first of its kind, and it's really exciting to see. Either way, guys, that's all I have for you in this episode. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on the video, drop a comment, let me know what you guys think. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. Be sure to